Hello, friends. Thank you for being here with me today. I am thinking about Valentine's Day. I don't do a lot of things at Valentine's Day, but I try to encourage my friends. There's a group of us ladies that meet as often as we can for lunches together, and I enjoy bringing little fun things to share with them, things I've been creating, and just to express my appreciation to them. So when you're thinking about Valentine's Day, I hope you don't think about it as just being a day for love interests and that sort of thing, but also think of it as a friendship day. I know when my mother-in-law, who has passed away quite some time ago, when she was a very young girl, she had started an album of Valentines, and they were so sweet. But they were Valentines from girlfriends and guys. It wasn't uncommon back in the 20s, 30s for friends to just express their love for one another through little cards and things like that. So I want to just encourage you to reach out to your friends with Valentine's Day, reach out to people in your church or your cultural groups or whatever, and just bring them a little slice of joy. You just never know when people are having a rough day, and that can make all the difference. So this is what we're going to be making. It's this is watercolor paper, and then this is just scrapbook paper, a few little stickers, a pen to do this. If you don't, on the back I did my little message. If you don't have watercolor paper, you could do the same thing with markers and any kind of mixed media paper. And a lot of mixed media paper, if you have that, is strong enough to be able to actually watercolor on without it going through on the other side. So, but if you don't have watercolor paper, I do encourage you to go get some, just a small little pad. It doesn't have to be the expensive stuff, especially for this kind of craft, but it's just nice to have along whenever you want to play and do something like this very quickly, because it dries fast and it's very shippable, doesn't weigh much. So just encourage you to get a little bit of that. So this is super, super simple. We'll make the little envelope and we'll make the little picture. These are some of the ones that I've done, and I was just trying to do these with little hashtags. They're just little, like I say, just little joy cards, and then we'll write on the back something for each one of my little friends. So you're going to need, these are 2 and 7/8 inch squares. And then you're going to need paper for the envelope. And the paper I'm using is 3 by 12. And there's lots of people online that show you how to do this if you want to size it up and down. And I'll try to remember to leave a link. This one lady, it's a 4-to-1 ratio. So as I've told you before, I do not have any kind of geometry brain. So I would have to sit down and physically figure that out if I wanted to go up or down. but I'll put her little YouTube link in my description, so that those of you who do have brains like that, who want to size up or smaller, can get the ratio to be able to do that. Or maybe just telling you that it's 4 by 1 makes all the difference to you. So this is 3 inches wide here, and so that makes this 12 inches. So that's, I guess, the 1 to 4. But I'll let you deal with that. I've also got some little stickers here. If you don't want to do any painting, you could just do this with stickers on cardstock as well, and then make the little envelope. It's really just to exercise your creativity and think about ways to, you can tuck these in to any other gift. You can, take them with you in your purse. And if you run across a person at the counter of whatever store or Starbucks or anywhere, and if it looks like they're having a bad day or a good day and you just want to add to their encouragement, then slipping them one of these is a really fun thing to do, very unexpected, and people will treasure them. Trust me, I know. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take I have some waste ones here, but I've got some clean paper too. Ah, here we go. And I'm also using, the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen, but you can use any black pen that is waterproof. And I'm using a fairly small, fine, not super fine, but fine. Then I'm using a little pan of watercolors. These are really watercolors that are intended for this kind of thing, for crafting kinds of watercolor. Although they're very nice, I wouldn't be using these if I were going to try to create a watercolor masterpiece. I don't think they have the longevity for that, but that's certainly not what we're creating. So, and you can also find really fun pre-mixed colors that are just fun. But any kind of watercolor, I mean, this poor thing is so dried out, but this would work just as great. You don't need a bunch of colors. Really, you just need pink and green. You can do any one of these little fun kinds of palettes, and they're just a lot of fun. Okay, so I'm going to actually, I think, just do one because I think that's all you need to get the idea. Doing a heart is super, super simple. I encourage you to use, it doesn't have to be a watercolor brush, by the way, but this happens to be, let's see, it's a number 6 Grumbacher round. Rounds are nice for doing hearts because they let you do this little section at the top in a nice looped way. This is my ugly little palette that I've used for 100 every years, and you can see it's got some of my colors. So I used this. Let me pull this over so you can just see. I used this bright pink. I have no idea what color it is, but it doesn't matter. Just use a pink. Okay, we're not going to mix up a lot of fancy colors. And I'm going to keep this fairly wet. When you have watercolor paper, every place that's dry will stay dry and won't bleed. It's only when you get watercolor paper wet all over that it starts to bleed like crazy. So it's very, very, very simple to draw this little heart and not worry about it spreading out all over. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I mean, really, seriously, we're just gonna do this. I hope I'm not getting in the way, but you're just gonna swish it around, fill in the middle. If you think you went too small, you very quickly go ahead and just go a little bit bigger. Okay, this is not all about the watercolor, it's about the sentiment. Now, I also want, though, to add a little splash of color here. I want to make it a little different, and while it's still wet, it'll bleed, and that's kind of fun. And if you wanted to add, wanted to take away some paint, you can do that. Or if you wanted to add a contrast color just for fun, you could do a little splash over here. I'm gonna just get that. I've got a little cloth, a little paper towel off to the side, so I'm gonna just wet that. And that's just to give it a little more dynamic color. It's nothing you have to do. And if I don't like this, I can go over it a little bit. You'll start to get some blooms, and some people, you know, don't really like that, but it's just, yeah, it's up to you. It's not, this isn't high art. This is craft art, fun craft art. Okay, so there's that. And then while that's drying a little bit, I can add my whatever I want to say down here. So I'm just using my hashtags, but you can add a little statement. You can do whatever you would like. But I'm going to say, I'm just going to say joy. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. And while that is drying, I can go ahead and I think I'll do one more. And that way, let's see, yeah. I'm going to do one more, and then if I mess up the other, I've got that to do something with. But then they don't have to be pink. I just happen to be doing pink. You can do any color that you want. If you've got a passion for orange, then by all means, you do orange. Now I've just mixed my red and my pink with this one. And I'm just swirling it around. Nothing fancy. I'm going to put a little more pink in there just for fun. And I'm going to squiggle a line just for fun, because those will dry. It's really fun when they dry different directions. Okay? And this one, what do I want to say? I'm going to say dance. And you can use any kind of lettering. You can put stickers. You can do, if you could do fancy lettering, great, or calligraphy or whatever. But the whole idea of this is it's quick and simple and just fun. So while that is drying, let me get all that pushed back so I don't end up knocking everything over. Close up my paints here. And we're going to draw on those in a second. This is this paper is kind of crazy, and I haven't known what to do with it. So with an envelope, I think it'll mostly disappear, and that'll be just fine for my purposes. So this is 3 by 12. Let's make sure 3 by 12. Okay. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to fold it in half. This is also, this has been around for many years, this idea of this envelope. It's an origami of envelope, but it's a lot of junk journal people make these little pockets and affix them into their junk journals, because they're just a great little tuck-in spot if you wanted to add a little bookmark or a note or whatever. So they've been around a long time. You can see I'm not even using a bone folder. I'm just using, well, maybe I should. I have done, this one was done on paper that is double-sided, just paper. Cardstock's a little different, but it's the measurements process are all the same. I'm not sure well, I won't stutter on. I'll just keep going. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to fold. We're going to make 4 equal size squares, essentially. But what I want to do, and I hope you can see this, is I'm going to butt it right up into that, to that edge, and then I'm going to inch it back just a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit. So it's not right up on the fold, because we're going to be folding this in half, and I don't want a big bulk on that inside seam. Okay? And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to go fold it up, and we're going to go right up to it. I'm going to just butt it right up against it, and then just come back just a little bit. Okay? And we can always trim stuff down. This is really a no-stress little thing to do. That's a little off, and so I think it'll be okay, but we'll watch that and make sure. Okay, it may be hard to see that this is where my fold is, but now what I want to do is I want to curl this down, and I find it helps to turn my edges up like this. I hope that you can see that, so that I know where it's going to hit. And then I'm going to just, again, go off that just a little bit. But the trick is I want to keep this down here very straight. You don't want to end up with this point being crooked. Okay? It sounds more complicated than it is. Okay? So that's what it's going to look like when I get done. This side, we're going to do something very similar, but we're going to turn. So square number 2, the 1, 2, 3, 4, square number 2 is going to come down, and here's our little fold right there. In fact, I'll line it up on this line so you can kind of see. I'm going to turn it, but now my focus is I want this to be flush with this bottom line. So I'm going to come down with that edge until it's flush, and then just inch it over to straighten it up. Okay, I don't want it to go over, just straighten it up. So you can see that my point is right there, and it's coming down and it's straight. That's what I want. Okay, And it sounds like, again, it sounds harder than it is. It's really not that hard. Okay, so now I have this little angle. This is going to come down, and now I'm going to pull this up. And now you can see that I'm a little crooked right there. That's going to actually end up being hidden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down till it's straight, and I'm going to run my bone folder back, that angled piece is back behind. I'm going to straighten that out. Okay, so now it should fold better. Okay, it's going to fold. Okay, so this is what you've got. Square 1, 2, 3, 4. Square 4, you come down at an angle to the inside. Square 2, you come down at an angle, same thing, leaving this number 3 is going to stay just as it is. Number 1, you're going to fold up, and it's going to become a backbone to number 3. So we're going to fold this over. Anything that doesn't fit, we can trim. Okay, so now I'm just going to make sure this is all nice and squared up. Now this piece is going to come in, and I find that often it's too long, and I can feel it right there. It's too long, okay, to just fit in there. See how it makes it wonky? Okay, so what I'm going to do, super simple, is I'm going to come back with my scissors. I'm going to cut this end off. I'm not going to see it, so it doesn't make any difference. Okay, and I'm going to trim this up right here, just a smidge, so that there's not so much bulk right there at the fold. You don't want to cut into this at all, so be careful. But I'm just going to trim just a razor thin piece right off the edge. You see how thin that is? That should be enough now to let us fold. Okay. Now, if you do find that it stays still wonky, like especially if this is bowing out, cut a little more off, okay? You can try straightening it, but sometimes it's just better not to fight it. So now I'm going to cut another, just a sliver off. I mean, no, just a hair. Just go a hair. With paper is more malleable, and so it won't fuss at you quite so much. But this is pretty, don't you think? I really like that. Okay, so now I'm going around. Now, if this is off wonky like that, this one doesn't bother me. But I can either pull this up higher and refold that part so that that's more flush. This will still come in here and go right in where it's supposed to, like that. That didn't make much difference. But you can trim that across there if you want to. But honestly, that doesn't bother me. If it were way, way, way off, it would bother me. But that really doesn't. So then your little card will just fit right in there. Okay? And that's where their eye is going to go. They're not going to go, oh, you didn't get that quite straight. What happened there? So, and then you can put a little message on the back too if you want to. So that's that. Okay. So now, these are pretty dry. And as long as I'm not getting my pen, and as long as it's a waterproof pen, it shouldn't do too much moving around. But what I'm going to do is very loosely, I am going to do this just very loosely, okay? And I may even go ahead and do another, and I don't care if it overlaps, and I think a third. And it doesn't matter because this is about joy. So I thought that'd be fun. I might like to put a little X there and a little X there. Little homage to love and joy. Okay, so there's that one. And then this one, I'm going to do again the little lace thing. I like that. Don't make it complicated. You won't want to do it if it's too complicated. You'll go, oh, I just don't have the time. But Goodness gracious, everybody's got time to do something like this. Okay. And I don't care how crazy it is. Now, I do want to go around. And again, I'm not worried about it. 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 I'm going to go 3. And I'm going to go 3 of these. And so it's just exuberance. Nobody's, you know, don't worry about it just being wild and wonky and all of that. Okay? So just enjoy it. Okay? So on the back, you can say, you can put a statement if you want to. Or I have this little thing from Simple Stories, which is very sweet. And I liked it. And so I like this. Friends or family, you pick. Okay. And so I'm just going to put this right here. Like that. And then I'm just going to draw that. Okay. But you could do, you know, XOXO. You could do whatever you want. And I think I will also... Nope, I'm going to leave it at that. You don't want to overthink these because this is really, you don't want your friend to feel obligated to do something back. You just want to do something fun that makes them smile and say how sweet. And it's not so precious that they couldn't toss it. If they just, you know, go through their things and they go, I don't have any room for this. Or they could give it to somebody else because I haven't put their name on there. And so that way they can just pass it along if they want to. Okay. So there's that one. And on this one, you can do, okay, I'm going to say you are more fun than a bag of puppies. Hugs, my friend. Okay, there's that. And I'm going to put a little heart. I'm just going to put this little heart right there. Okay, so there's that. I'm ready to put that in another little envelope just like this. Easy peasy, just takes a few minutes, brings some joy to some people you love. I was planning to do a video every week. I will say that's turned out to be more of a challenge than I expected because I'm still on a big learning curve and editing and all of that takes a little more time than I thought. Plus life just doesn't seem to slow down. So I'm going to try to shoot for a video every 10 days. And I may do some shorts that fill in the gaps there, but thank you again. My numbers are growing and I'm so pleased to see that. It just encourages my heart that this might be bringing people some joy. I pray that your week ahead is very good. I pray that it's filled with peace, and I just thank you, and I hope to see you again really soon. Bye.